Hey y'all, welcome to a very special Geek Freaks. I am Frank. We've been talking about it for weeks, about going to Capital Creative Showcase. This last weekend, we had our booth there. We were hanging out with our brothers over at Distance Nerding. It was a ton of fun. We got to meet a lot of the creative people here in Sacramento, a lot of board game developers and video game developers. It was a blast. We even got to do a panel on, all kinds of things, but my favorite, of course, was about podcasting. And we're going to be processing all that footage and audio. They'll be up on our YouTube and up on our Patreon for free. So check those out as I get through them. It'll take a second. But today what I have for you are 4 interviews, 2 with video game developers and 2 with board game developers. So you can hear some of the efforts and the passion that goes into these big projects. And, you know, some of them take years and years and years to finish, but there's so many balancing and different acts like that go into it. So it's quite amazing. Also, we're going to be putting up a lot of pictures on our social media from the event if you guys want to take a look at those. But yeah, we had a ton of fun and I can't wait to share it all with you right now. So first up, we have Kim from Ghost Hunter Simulator. Ghost Hunter Simulator is a very unique game. The concept is you're basically one of those, ghost hunting shows. You're in one of those. But my favorite part about it is you choose right from the start whether or not ghosts are real or fake. And that changes how you play the game, right? If they're real, you're trying to somewhat survive them. You're looking for a paranormal activity or something that, is otherworldly. But if you choose that they're fake in this world, then you're looking for things to debunk ghosts. You're trying to find things that are fake. So if there's blood on the walls, either you're trying to figure out what the ghost is trying to tell you, or you're trying to figure out who put this blood on the wall. And it just changes how you perceive everything in this game. And it's such a novel idea. And it's a blast talking to Kim, who has an illustrious career in other gaming companies and stuff like that. We talked about that off mic. But it was wonderful talking to Kim. So here's our interview about Ghost Hunter Simulator. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing all right.
We're at the Capital Creative Showcase right now. We're talking about video games made here in Sacramento. Where did you guys get the idea for your game?
Oh, gosh. So we've always liked watching the TV shows of people going through and, exploring these haunted locations. And then my husband and I, every time we would move to a new city, we would do, the ghost tours.
Oh, those are so fun.
Yeah, to learn about the city and everything. And so we had that moment where we were realizing we were going to have the opportunity to make our own indie game.
Yeah.
We're both professional game developers, so we work, at AAA companies, but you don't get to make your own game in that situation. So for us, it was like, whoa, what's the game that we could make that doesn't exist, right?
Right.
And I love ghost hunting shows. Yeah. I am a huge wuss when it comes to horror, right? I can't do it. I can't do the jump scares.
Yeah.
And so we had that moment of talking about, well, what's the game we would make? And I was like, I would make a ghost hunting game with no combat. Right? Yeah. The ghost can't hurt you, all this stuff. It's just a chill, cozy horror game, right?
Right.
And so that was our idea. And, we had that moment where, you go on Steam and you look to see, does anybody else made this game?
Right.
Nope. This game doesn't exist. And publishers aren't going to make it. Big companies aren't going to make it. If we wanted this game to exist, it had to be us. And so we started working on it. And it also felt like it was within the scope of what we could do, right? We're both designers. So, you can build a ghost hunting type game with asset packs and nobody really gives it any side eye.
Right.
And, we're both really strong in blueprints, so we were able to build all the game systems in blueprints and Unreal and everything. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So when you look at the industry from, with the AAA titles and then moving over indie, what are some of the strengths that come from indie gaming?
Oh my gosh, indie games get to be so much more experimental. Yeah. They get to really push the envelope of the medium. I'm a huge fan of movies and TV shows, and I'm a huge fan of books. I love reading and everything. But video games are just different, right? Yeah. You're interacting with the world, you're interacting. I heard someone on Blue Sky, I think it was Liz England, said a video game is a collaborative story between the player and the designer.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And so indie games are so much smaller and so much more interesting in their stories.
Yes.
Because they haven't been iterated into blandness. Sorry. But like that's what happens, right?
Oh yeah.
And the larger your team gets, and if you're working as a collaborative effort on these large teams, you kind of end up at a very like, white bread kind of like state for the game.
Right.
But indie games, they can totally push those boundaries, and they can really like do crazy stuff. And people accept it, right? Because when you get an indie game, it doesn't necessarily have to have all of this polish and all of this, like, it doesn't have to be super easy. They can be hard, they can be challenging, or they can be weird. Like, oh, it's a ghost hunting game that doesn't have combat, and it's really just exploring and being nosy, right?
Yes. Some of those boundaries that you guys push, first off, what are those boundaries? But there's one I want to bring up in particular. You could choose whether or not ghosts exist, correct?
Yeah. So, my day job is a game designer, and one of the like pillars of being a game designer is you want to set a player's expectations, and then you want to meet them.
Yeah.
Right. So if I set the expectation for a certain type of game, I need to be able to meet that expectation for a player, or else they're going to get really annoyed real quick. And so, only like 40-something% of the United States believes ghosts exist.
Okay.
So actually the majority of people do not believe ghosts exist.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's not really the point of the idea. Like, we like going on ghost tours because we like going through old buildings. We like poking around urban decay. And so, but it was one of those things where every time we would talk to someone about this game, they would be like, well, what if I don't believe in games? Or what if I don't believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
And it was always like, well, okay, I mean, you cannot believe in ghosts. It's a game, though. Wizards, right? Like, it's magical. It's a video game world. But I had that moment of like, man, we're really not meeting that expectation, right? People have this expectation of ghosts might not be real. And so the more we talked about it, this was probably like 6 months into development.
Oh, yeah.
My husband and I were talking about it, and we talked about why this one show was our favorite versus all of these other possible shows. And it is 100% because there's two guys on the show. One of them's a skeptic, and one of them's a believer.
What a great format.
Right? And it makes it work. Because you have that skeptic. You have that person that's sitting there going, I mean, what if that was just a rat, right? What if that was just the wind? And it was really interesting because we identified that, and then I took an idea from Persona. Obviously I play a lot of games. But in the Persona series, whenever you go to play them the first time, they make you accept the contract, right? And it's all like baked into the like story and everything. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. We ask the player, are ghosts real? And that way we can meet their expectations. Because if they're like, I want a ghost game, I want to see a full body apparition, I want to see the woman in white coming down the stairs, we can do that. But if there's someone who is skeptical and is like, I don't believe in ghosts, we can give them that. We can give them where all the evidence they collect is the scientific proof of, oh yeah, it's not, the light isn't flickering because a ghost is messing with it, it's faulty wiring.
Yeah.
We caught the mouse that was over in this room that was making the noise. And so we talked about all of that, and as soon as we had that choice screen, it clicked. And that was really the moment where when we were talking to other people about our game, and we would say, oh, well, you get to decide, are ghosts real? And they have that moment of, you can see it come over their faces, which is also why we have the free demo on Steam, because we understand our game is a little weird, and we understand people aren't going to quite get it necessarily. Right. And so it's like, well, here's a free thing, you can go and play it and check it out. And so it's been really neat for us. Yeah.
Have you had anybody compliment the idea that it's basically two games in one, like they want to go one play style, then repeat it with the other?
Yeah, and it's actually really funny, the number of people who, as soon as they realize that it's a choice moment for each save, they have that moment of, oh, well, I know what I'm going to do next time. And I'm just sitting there like, yes, keep playing my game, thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we have actually had people who have sat down to play the demo. They choose yes, and then they're like, wait, but you said it's different if you choose no. And we're like, all the evidence comes out differently. Right. The tags that you use, because there's kind of there's like a strategy layer where you're uploading your evidence onto these like fake, social media sites like BooTube and Deadit, right? Yeah. And so, and we already knew that was going to be a thing, and so now the skeptics pass, like they actually have like the, oh, this isn't a ghost, not haunted, and put the tag on the social media post. Yeah.
I love that. You talked about some of the pillars for like AAA game development. What are some of the other pillars you had to meet in this game?
So, you know, our game, like, we talk a lot about player agency and player choice. So we actually have, and I'm not sure how functional it is at the moment. We're in early access. But we have this idea of this tag-based system that effectively puts content warnings on all of the levels.
Yeah.
So I'm a mom. I don't handle children being in danger very well, right?
Understandable. Yeah.
So, you know, some of these stories, some of these locations have these like very scary stories about children. Ooh, I can't do that. So we talk about player agency of allowing players to choose their own adventure. So tag-based content warning system, you can click off the ones you don't like, and those stories just won't appear for you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
We also, you know, as game designers, we spend a lot of time in these fantastical worlds, and I wanted to build real-world locations.
Yeah.
I love urban decay. I'm terrified of tetanus, right? and that idea of I don't actually want to go into this dangerous crumbling building.
Right.
But I still want to explore it. So I can do that in a video game safely, right?
Right.
So we build these real-world locations, but they're kind of adjusted for gameplay. Then we can also do fantastical stuff as well. So, you know, I talked about, you know, I'm a level designer, so I don't get to do fan art.
Right.
Because I build levels.
Right.
But in my game, I get to do fan art. So I can build levels from these other like shows and media things that I love, and I can build my fan art of their level that goes in my game that's now haunted. Yeah.
Have you shared any of that level design with the fandoms? Or
So the one in the demo is, we call it the Mystery Hack.
Yeah.
And it's a reference to Gravity Falls, the TV show. And no, but I actually do have, I have a whole video and stuff that when we do our 1.0 push, so we're releasing in 1.0 this October, and when we do our 1.0 push, it's going to be one of those things of posting it to Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to tag Alex and be like, Alex, check it out.
Might as well.
Your thing. Might as well, right? Who knows? It's actually really funny. Last week, I actually tagged John Scalzi and was like, "Is your church haunted? Do you want it in a game?" So yeah, it's just kind of that kind of things. We haven't really done much social media push because it's two designers and we have full-time jobs, right?
Right.
You know, it is bootstrapped indie at its hardest.
Yeah.
You know, and we've been really lucky and really fortunate with being able to do a lot of the work ourselves. Just purely from our experience, right? Making games as a job, and then you turn around and make it kind of as your hobby too. It's kind of cool. There's a lot of transferable skills.
Yeah. So we have a Ghost Hunter Simulator coming out October. After that, you're going to do that big push. It's going to be on Steam. Is it going to be on anything else?
I do believe we're going to have it on Epic. I'm pretty sure we want to put it on itch.io.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're not really attached to any of the storefronts.
Right,
and because we're doing it all ourselves, we can put it wherever we want.
Yeah.
I think for us, that is really just doing the build for it and building the page for it. So probably by October, we should have our Epic page up and working.
Perfect.
And all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Steam was kind of our priority because
it's the biggest one.
Well, we also know the stats, right?
Okay.
So we know other indie developers, we know, and it's okay, but 90% of your audience is going to come from Steam.
Yeah.
So if you want to be successful, you've got to be there.
Yeah.
And there are other ways to be, some people can get the deal with Epic. We didn't. A lot of publishers don't like when your game doesn't have combat.
It's the little things.
Yeah, just the little things. But yeah, that's our plan is to have it on all that stuff. Yeah.
But right now, people can head to Steam and play that demo, right?
Yeah, it's for free. Right. It's up there. It's going. If you hit any bugs, please report them.
Yes.
We'll fix them.
Yeah. I was talking to some of the kids here, which was one of the best things about Capital Creative Showcase is you get to feel the bugs and tell the developer. And one of the kids was like, "Oh, I broke their game," and it's like, good.
Yeah.
Let them know.
We had a guy who sat down and played ours, and he managed to make the UI disappear.
Wow.
All of it. It was just totally gone. And my husband was like, I don't even know how that would have happened. Like, there's no logic to it. We ended up giving him a key to our game. And we were like, here, we can't pay you for QAing our game, but thanks for finding that bug, you know?
That's cool. That's a great gift,
Yeah.
So October, guys, but right now you can get in there, find those bugs.
Yeah.
And hunt some ghosts, maybe, if they exist. That's great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Kim. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Next, I'm talking to Sarah from Wizard Cleaning Simulator. And this was such a little fun, delightful game. I love the colors in it, and it's just kind of homey wizard tower. I heard one time Hank Green saying that he wants his office to feel like a house, where it's got a lot of stuff in there, and everything in there means something to you. And that's what this game feels like. It's got all these little nooks and crannies and beautiful candlelight, and it's really a lot of fun. But much like other cleaning simulator games where the repetitive cleanliness is a way to kind of calm you down and stuff like that, this one is the same thing, but you're in a wizard world, and it's done very well. And you play as a magic scrub brush. Sarah was very insightful, and it was just really good kind of digging into the design aspect of games and how indie communities in the video game development world, how they have to work together in the community and stuff like that. In comparison to when we talked to Kim from Ghost Hunter, who has AAA experience, when you talk to Sarah, who's more on the indie side, or coming up from the indie side, I should say, learning how there's a bit of a cooperation amongst other games, and it was very interesting learning about that. I liked it a lot. So let's meet Sarah. All right, I'm with Sarah now from Wizard Cleaning Simulator. How you doing, Sarah?
I'm good.
Can you break down your game for us?
Yeah, so it's Wizard Cleaning Simulator. It's pretty self-explanatory. You clean a magical castle, and you play as a little homunculus scrub brush, and you just clean and kind of discover.
How are you implementing the wizard aspect of that? Are you adding spells and things like that?
Well, it's magical.
Okay.
We know that there is a pretty big audience for like wizarding kind of school.
Right.
And so we're just trying to get those vibes into our game, because our game is a pretty vibe heavy game.
Yeah.
There's three of us are working on this project plus friends, and none of us are programmers. So
oh wow.
we all know a little bit, so we kind of we joke that the three of us makes one junior programmer.
A junior programmer at that.
Junior.
So how has your experience changed over all this? Are you guys getting better at programming and things like that as you're developing? Okay.
Yeah, we're getting a lot better. We're using Unreal, so it's nice to have the blueprinting. I've taken a class in C++, so I kind of understand it a little bit. My partner, Elliot, he does technical animation, and he had a degree in mechanical engineering before this, so he's really good at logic and figuring out math problems.
Yeah.
And then my other friend, Chelsea, the other developer, they are just smart. They just figure things out, so.
I love to have a friend like that. That's good stuff. Yeah. Oh, so where'd the concept come from this? Because, you hear Cleaning Simulator, you hear some wizard games over here. It seems like such a good mix. How'd that concept come about?
Well, so we did Global Game Jam 2 years ago.
Oh, that is so fun over there.
Yeah. So the prompt was bubbles.
Okay.
So what we do when we do a game jam is we all get the prompt, and then we all go our separate ways, and we don't talk to each other about the thing that we're gonna do. And we all think of all these different ideas, and then we kind of go into committee, and then we pitch our ideas to each other, and then wizard cleaning game kind of stuck.
Right.
So we did that, and we developed that over the week. Where we would just go after work on this project, and so we did that in a week, and we really liked the concept, and then we didn't touch it for 6 months.
Okay.
And then things were happening in the industry, and we're just well, maybe we should do some of our own things too. And then Elliot comes home one day, and he's just why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
We already like it so much, and people already have a good reception, so let's just keep doing it.
Yeah. So where does it go from, at the game jams and stuff like that? Sometimes you're just trying to get it together. You're trying to make it functional. What do you do when you want to, let's make this a project we're actually going to work on? How do you go back to that?
Well, we are art heavy because most of us are artists. So we kind of look at it and we have this idea of what we want it to be. So we kind of concept out some ideas, and we're approaching it from our strengths and our weaknesses.
Right.
We don't have a lot of people to do animation, so we knew we can't do a lot of people, we can't do a lot of dialogue because none of us are writers. So we kind of threw you know, what we can do and what we can't do. We're kind of like scope around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are just like, I want to make something pretty.
Yes.
You know? And then what can we do on top of that?
Yeah. How have those limitations forced you guys to get creative?
Well, we rely on our friends a lot.
There you go. Yeah.
I would love to pay them, but you know. Yeah, so we don't want to make anybody do anything. We don't want to put pressure on them because, like, we understand the position that they're in. They're just trying to help us, so we don't want to pressure them to do more than what they want to do.
Yeah.
So when we scope out, like, our next milestone, it's like, okay, what can we do? Like, the three of us, what can we do? And if we think that we can do it, then that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
And then if somebody happens to have time to come in and help us, then maybe we scope around what their availability is too.
Yeah.
But we're very flexible, so we, like, have been in situations where, like, okay, we're going to do this. And then we get somebody, and they're like, okay, cool, we're going to do a little bit more. But then something happens, and then they can't, you know, contribute as much as they thought they could. So then we are always able to scope back to our original idea.
Right.
So, and then sometimes we kind of land somewhere in between.
Yeah, so you have to stay flexible when you're developing a game like this.
Yes.
With the indie gaming community, is a lot of it community-based, where you're kind of helping somebody else on their game?
So I always offer, and sometimes, but hasn't quite happened yet.
Yeah.
So, like, I was just talking to someone today, and I was like, oh, do you guys have a programmer? They didn't. I was like, we could have done a trade because they didn't have an artist. So I was like, we could have. I want to. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At an event like this, what are you trying to get out of this event? You know, you're seeing all these other video game developers at different stages of their development. What are you trying to get out of it?
I think a lot of playtesting. So we have friends. Most of them are game developers. Some of them aren't. So we usually get a lot of, like, technical feedback from our friends, and, like, general feedback is a little bit harder. So, like, we found quite a few bugs that we didn't know we had. And, like, you just, like, see the way that people play it, and you're just like, okay, I think that maybe we need to, like, think about this some more, or, you know, maybe this wasn't as clear, or maybe we should, maybe, like, we held our hand a little too much or something. Yeah. So it's a lot of, like, general population kind of thing. And they're very forgiving here because everybody here likes to play games. So.
Of course. Yeah, so it's kind of this, like rush of feedback that you're getting back. Okay. So where are you at in the development phase? When do you think launch might be?
Well, we're hoping for Halloween 2027.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Don't quote me. I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, 2027, late 2027, I think is what we want to do. And, like, yeah, it would be great to get funding because that is kind of the goal if we're able to, like, you know, either fund ourselves or have some people help us.
From the player standpoint, a lot of times we're getting early access, or maybe there's Kickstarters. What do you feel like is the best funding option for you guys?
Well, we are open to publishers. We did talk to a publisher, and they offered, like, a quarter of what we wanted, so we had to turn that down. Just because we didn't want to get into a position where we were promising a developer something, but then we fell short on money. So we are open to talking to people about that, and I think that's really cool. And but Elliot, one of the other the developers, he works on our game part-time, and then my contract just ended, so I'm kind of going more back to full-time on this. And then the Third Frog, the studio's called Three Frog Studio. Yeah. So the Third Frog is also trying to do this more full-time.
Yeah. Three Frog Studios developing this game. Do you ever get distracted by ideas that come up? Maybe we'll work on that in the future. Not happening at all?
No, it happens all the time.
Oh, okay.
So Chelsea and I, we are, like, the wild cards, kind of, and then, like, we talk
Poor
about
Elliot.
these things. I know. Elliot is the stable one. He's just like, guys, we can't do that. And then, so it kind of evens out. Like, we shoot for the stars, and then it's like, okay, but that's not realistic. Yeah. And then, so we kind of get brought back down. And I think that that's a really good balance to, like, want to push for something and then, be realistic about it.
This sounds like such a fun project. How can people follow you?
So they can wishlist us on Steam. Okay. We also have a Discord. So if you go to our website, threefrogstudio.com, there's only one S and it's in studio. And then they can get to our Discord through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when can people start playtesting your game outside of an event?
Well, if they join our Discord and they're really interested, then we can send out the builds.
There we go, guys. Get in there, give some feedback. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Next up we got Keoni from Seize Gilded Treasures. Oh man, this team, they are active as heck. So we got connected to them from another convention that Tyler went to, and he talked to them, and they were like, hey, here's a bunch of cards to play. Tyler got really busy, I got really busy, and eventually we're like, we gotta play this freaking game, man. And we played it and got so heated in all the best ways. You know how it is in a game night, where it's like you're fine-tuning every little rule, and Tyler's writing down different things he wants to tell the guys, like, hey, I think you should change this or whatever. Because, of course, you know, it's a game in development as you're playing it. So there are literally things you could ask the guys to change or fix, and they will. But it was just this fervor of exploration into a brand new TTRPG. We were loving it so much. So to be able to sit down with the actual creators of the game was a blast. We had them on a panel, and then later on I got to talk to Keoni. So on the panel we had Alex, I can remember all the names, guys, Alex and Chris, and then I got to talk to Keoni, who is their PR guy, but also one of the head senior game designers, and just really digging into the nuts and bolts of every little thing. For an example, if you look at like a Yu-Gi-Oh card or a Magic the Gathering card, which these are very similar to, but there's a whole another level to it, all the text on there has to make sense in every way. And it has to be balanced, because there's famously cards that are not balanced in Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and Pokemon. And so these guys are constantly having to rebalance things, and it's a really big process. Now, this game also has a board game aspect where you're moving up and down and left and right, and it affects how you play. So it's like TTRPG mixed with chess. It's fantastic. Best thing to do right now is just get into this conversation with Keoni so you can meet some of the team. All right, now I'm here with Keoni from Seize Gilded Treasures. How you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, we're towards the end of the day. Hanging in there is exactly right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hang in. Absolutely.
So you guys are developers of a TTRPG. I had the chance to play a few different decks.
Sure.
I'm a hunter main at this point now.
Sure.
I keep telling, everybody says I should play a wizard, but we'll see.
Sure.
Where did the concept for this come from? Where did you guys get this idea?
So honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it was 100% Alex's idea, and then he kind of came to me later, and he kind of explained like what the game was about, and it really stuck out to me because the difference between this and a lot of other trading card games was the tabletop and the fact that we're able to move. So once I kind of seen that was like a big game changer for me.
It is.
So it kind of. So I guess the best way to put it is I joined, and originally I kind of just was doing small jobs and stuff like that, but now I'm kind of like the senior developer after years and years of work. So I don't know. I would say that's pretty much what I do. I'm the senior developer. It's been in development for quite a bit now. Since I want to say 2021, 2020. So it has been developed behind the scenes with him, but also with me as well.
So when did you guys start bringing it out to the public then?
Okay, so we started honestly, Alex brought it out to the public 2022, and then that's when I started coming to these kind of like events with Alex and started learning the game and stuff like that. And then from there, he kind of saw that I was learning the game, and okay, it seems like you know the most about the game. How would you feel if you were my senior developer? And it just kind of went from there.
Along the way, as a senior developer, has there been any major hurdles that you come across? Because, like you were saying beforehand, the key with Seize, guys, and we'll have all the kinds of photos and videos for you guys to check it out, is it's not just cards, it's not just board game, it's the combination.
Absolutely.
Any major hurdles?
As a senior developer, it might seem like it has to do with marketing, but as a senior developer, I want to say community. Finding the community.
Oh, wow.
You would think it was easy because you just print a product, but not only does the community, like the game, have to work well, you have to get it in front of people's hands. So if people aren't playing the game, it's really hard to develop and or test the game. So we were going through a time for a long time where it was hard to get it in people's hands to get people interested, because Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, what's stopping people from playing those games to play our games?
And what's hard is those guys can pump out, the new Lord of the Rings, here you go, Lord of the Rings game.
Exactly.
At scale.
Yeah, exactly. And do some sort of collab like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, where we just have to come up with our ideas naturally.
Right.
And just kind of go with the flow that way and just hope it sticks.
What kind of steps do you do to make that community then?
First things first is we come to these things like this to kind of just get the word out there. And then I am constantly going to shops. I'm going to Constellation Collective. I'm going to Skyscraper Games, Fire and Ice, doing demos, giving away product. Just essentially word of mouth, kind of like guerrilla tactics. It's kind of like old school that way as far as that goes, because it is a tabletop game. People have to play on the table. So
right.
I also do social media. I'm in charge of the social media. So I'm also
you are.
yeah. Thank you so much. So I'm in charge of a lot of the marketing. So if you have seen me around and seen me in videos, it's because that's the reason. Yeah, it's a job. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so for sure that. But I would say that for sure is the hardest thing, is just getting the community together, and the steps that we take is just being relentless, just not giving up, and just, I hate to say it this way, but just kind of forcing it down people's throats and convincing them that it's a good product.
They just have to play it to learn that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to play it, make sure to get understanding of it and stuff like that. And like I was saying, I'm a Hunter main, but while we're doing it, because we're gonna have you guys up on the panel there to do the interview for the cameras, and the whole time Thomas, the guy I'm playing against, or Tyler, he's writing notes. Oh, this card probably shouldn't do this. How do you blah 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 blah? I'm like, calm down, bro. Right. But it sounds like that's all very useful information to have.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So I do have that issue with a lot of different players who we do play with, who play our game. I don't want to say any names, because I don't know if they would appreciate it, but he's the homie, and there's one card he really wants gone, which is Divine Elixir, but I keep telling him it is a really powerful card, but there are ways to beat it. As somebody who's a developer in the game, it's my job to go and really iron it out and play test it, and I've beaten the card 1,000 times, so I know if I can beat it, I know they can beat it, so you got to play the game a little bit more before,
right.
Just, but we do appreciate all the feedback, and we need it. It's my first time being a senior developer, and I need all the experience I can get, to tell you the truth.
One of the elements of the game that I think is, it's complicated. Luckily, we have a ton of D20s. We're using D20s as counters.
Sure.
Is the counting system, because there's like multiple things going on that you use numbers to count with. Sure. Is that something you guys are trying to add in as another feature? Or another thing you could sell, maybe?
Yeah, so right now, to kind of simplify that, we have a bunch of different markers.
Okay.
We have different markers to kind of just simplify numbers. We just kind of have a little flame marker, a little snowflake marker, and a little skull to indicate poison. So we don't have to really maneuver with the numbers so much anymore.
Okay.
We were using kind of just dice to kind of just put them to maneuver.
That's what we were doing, yeah.
Yeah, what's what, but we're getting to the point where we're realizing it's more of a board game too, and has board game elements, so we do need to have things that can indicate things clearly so it doesn't make the game messy.
That's got to be a tough balance between board game and card game. How does that work for you?
I keep it balanced by keeping the card mechanics separate from the board game itself.
Okay.
So I try to understand the mechanics of if this creature or mercenary or whatever can move this many times, how would it affect the game that way?
Yeah.
So we go into movement first that way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important, because that's the number one way the game plays. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you have to move. So I think that has more precedence over abilities, casting. I know that sounds crazy, because abilities are telling you what you're doing to play the game, the fact that you're moving without movement, you can't really play the game. So that's, I feel just as important, if not more important, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah. Now, how do you find the balance between, I'm going to keep saying balance. No.
Go ahead. No, that's fine.
When a card says something like puts traps down next to it, and then you have an argument with your friend because you're like, no, next to it means 1, 2, 3, or next to it means 1, 2, 3, or adjacent or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
How do you find the balance of look, it's up for them to deserpin, or is it something we have to make sure to really spell out?
Okay. So that is a problem that we have encountered. So we kind of just, through playing the game, have figured out that, the best way to explain it is because when we first started, we decided to use fancy words like orthogonal and stuff like that. So really orthogonal D-pad, right? So you can attack in a plus, you can attack,
or an X,
or an X, exactly. And I feel that has...
It's I'm realizing now, even in this thing, I'm like, I want to get in there. I want to tell you, hey, this son of a bitch cheated on.
No, exactly. And when you're using words like orthogonal, it's really easy to just be like, this is what this means. I'm pretty sure, or whatever. Because
that right there,
such a
pretty sure was a big one.
Yeah,
because we were placing down traps, and it was like, well, look, it doesn't make sense for a rogue to be able to place traps 3 over.
Exactly.
They got to be next to him.
Exactly.
And then
No,
that's bound to be something you're going to run into all the time as a developer.
Absolutely. And we're just doing it as we go, because honestly, there's, we're not perfect. We're a very small indie team, so there's only so much we could do with the amount of time that we have. We are working our own jobs and doing a lot of things on top of being developers and owners and whatever. So I mean, for sure. But I think there'll become a time where we'll be able to have it in the rule book, essentially, where it's just simplistic wording.
I like that. Yeah, a rule book that really breaks it down for people who want to like argue over it.
Right.
I'm just now getting more and more mad at Tyler over that match. Over that last match.
He cheated.
And I think he brought it up to you guys. I think he went over there to complain about it, because there was one card he had where, oh God, I remember now, like it's a nightmare. This interview's going off the rails, by the way.
No, it's all good.
So like, he had one card that was still back in his base that was like letting other cards attack things next to it. And I'm like, no, it should be by that guy. That guy's the one that should be next to him. But the way it was worded, it could be said it was over there. And so, like, I couldn't, as a hunter, I'm trying to keep things at bay.
Sure.
And he's keeping this hefty dude next to me who's just attacking me because of this guy's power.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's so hard on your guys' end when something like that pops up.
And it's hard to address, especially when you're just trying to start the game as like a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes it really hard because, again, when you have a big community, you run into those problems so much more often as when you're just like, hey guys, we're having an event, make sure you show up, and then you have like your 12 to like 20 to possibly however many.
Right.
We've had bigger events than that, but like, on a casual day, like, it's this minimal event, 12, 13 players, you're gonna have to have them play for you to be able to.
Yeah. And then also with an indie developer like this, a change is more expensive.
Yes.
So if you have to change a card, heaven forbid.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. So that's why we really have to hit the rule books and make it super explainable in the rule book, so the rule book can explain it to where we don't have to change the card.
Expensive route.
Yeah.
Now, one of the best features about this game is that there's different classes. Like I've been saying, I'm a hunter main, but there's wizards, there's rogues, there's warriors.
Absolutely.
How do you make sure that they have that unique identity? What is it something that you want to make sure each one feels different?
Oh, okay. So, spoiler alert, we're working on new classes.
Nice.
We're working on merchants and necromancers.
Oh, merchant, that is interesting.
Yeah. So, for anybody who's played, we're going to go a little off the rails again with this interview. Taxation, we're going to introduce a new taxation.
Oh, man.
Kind of like a
that
passive.
Feels like that's such a troll build right off the bat. I'm just saying.
It's going to be really control-y. It's going to be super control-y. And So essentially, what you have to pay in mana, the taxation is going to make you pay extra. If it's taxation 2, you're going to pay 5 for your normally 3 costs or whatever. So it's going to be stuff like that. But I guess the difference, the best way to answer your question, I guess, like, how we try to make them as different as possible is just, I guess, through the mechanics and really understanding the mechanics of what each one do, right?
Yeah.
So if you make warriors enough that you're going to understand that they're going to beat face, right? They're going to, do stuff like that. And you start also noticing, well, warriors are too strong. We need something to beat this. Oh, now we need something to beat this.
So you're kind of building for counters the whole time.
Yeah, right. So we were just trying to, when we were making the game, we were just trying to make the most cohesive meta possible, because we knew that there was a chance that this might be our only shot at this one box set right here. So we really wanted everybody to see how special the game was. So we really took our time to implement the classes and take our time working on them to get them to work functionally. So everybody can kind of feel like a different feeling, kind of like the color system in Magic, but not necessarily.
I think it's even more so than that, really.
Yeah, it is, 100%.
Like I was saying, like with a Hunter deck, for example, you really feel like your job is to keep that distance. You really feel like that's
absolutely.
Rogues, they attack with a cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you feel like, okay, this has its own unique identity.
Sure.
And that's just something that you don't get in other games, It makes
Absolutely.
you want to build these unique decks,
Absolutely. And the ability to mix them, too, I feel like that really helps a lot, too. Because the thing about our game, I don't know if people know, is you're able to mix classes.
I haven't done that yet, but I know that's something you can do. I'm afraid to, run out of the right class.
Oh, yeah, no. So there's going to be a point where you're going to realize that your guild is meant to be your guild. The class is really good and it's helpful, but there's going to be a point where you're going to be able to easily run assassins with cleric, and as weird as that sounds, like, how am I running assassins and cleric? Believe it or not,
there's going to be a synergy.
There's synergy there, and that was part of the design, and we really wanted to do that too. So once you get to know your class, once you get to know your hunter, your mage, whatever, you're going to really be surprised what you're going to be able to make shortly after.
I've just now thought about the hunter and rogue traps. You could make that battlefield suck.
Yeah, the Callop traps. Yeah, for sure.
That would be so terrible.
No, for sure. And again, movement is some of the most important things in the game. So you can think of that as like an anti-meta strategy almost, where, we have anti-meta as far as abilities, but also movement, too. So, it matters. All the little things matter, especially when your game is as detailed like that.
It is so fun to play, guys. You guys got to make sure you get a box.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I started off with the Hunter starter box, and I got all of them, but I just kind of something clicked, right? And
Absolutely.
then after that, I'm kind of after opening some boosters, I'm like, well, you know what? I do like these guys. And,
yeah.
And, make sure you guys are grabbing it. Where can they grab these?
Okay, so right now, we have a Kickstarter going on right now. So in order to get any product, you would have to sign up for the Kickstarter, and we do have a release coming up September 4th. But if I do have good news for anybody who is in Sacramento, if you are a Sacramento local or anywhere around there, Citrus Heights, Sacramento's pretty broad. You could just come to us directly. We have product at these shops that I'm at, Constellation, anything like that. You can reach out to us on our Discord, reach out to myself, reach out to Kyle, reach out to Alex, pretty much Chris. We pretty much reach out to anybody and just say, hey, I would like product. I'd like to bring product to my shop, whatever. And a lot of the time, we just give away a lot of product too because it's the very beginning stages, and we just want everybody to play. So, if we could just get you guys to just come out and play, we would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we love that.
Sacramento area, make sure you guys go out there and play, and we'll have links to the Kickstarter as well, so you can go on there and start.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It was great talking with you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, boss.
Of course. All right, the last interview that we're going to share on the podcast, remember, others are going to be up on YouTube. They're going to be up on our Patreon, but for free. But the last one for this episode of the podcast is going to be with Tyler and Squeaks, and they're sitting down with Mike from Legends of the Arena. And what a fast-paced game this is. First off, I just got to give a big shout out to their art team. These characters are well designed, and when you see a character, you're like, gotcha, that's a barbarian, or hey, look, that's clearly like a necromancer, or that's a rogue. Very, very well designed game. It's a game that's meant for up to 6 players, and what's nice is they're pretty compact in their length. So it's not like, oh my God, I got to play this game for 30 minutes. 8 minutes, you should be pretty good. And it's a lot of fast-paced movement. And again, that's one of those things where balancing is at the forefront. And there are a lot of little moving parts, but they all feel so natural, and it's really good synergy. So again, this is Legends of the Arena. Check out their website. Super good art. I'll make sure to link to everything, by the way, that we're discussing today. And here's that conversation. It's a really good one.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Capital Creative Showcase. I'm here with a TCG game, Legend of the Arena. I keep wanting to say Legends of Smash for some reason, but it's close enough.
That's taken.
Give me a 30-second blurb of who you are, what your game is, kind of just, give us a quick synopsis of everything.
Awesome, yeah, thanks. Hey everyone, my name's Mike. I'm one of the designers of Legends of the Arena. We are a dueling card-based game. We like to think of it, what if Super Smash Brothers was an actual board game, card game you can play with your friends. What we've got is 10 different characters. We play up to 6 in a game, free-for-all teams, all supported, variety of different maps. Goal of the game is to knock other people out of the arena. You do that by kind of queuing up a few different actions. So we lean really heavily into the fighting game idea of reading and anticipation, as well as a little bit of the card game hand management things.
Okay. So with that being said, Smash ideal for this card game, how hard was it to come up with a concept that wasn't already created? There's so many card games out there now, but when I was drawn to your booth and played this game with you, it definitely felt unique. So how did you get to that? that lane?
We definitely played a lot of games. My brother and I, we grew up playing a lot of classic TCGs like Magic and Pokemon, but we also played a lot of board games. And I think one space we really felt drawn to was the kind of RPS style games where like no matter what, you always have a counter to what your opponent's doing. And so it becomes less about building the best deck, the best net deck or whatever. It becomes more about figuring out where your opponent is coming from. So some games like that, want to shout out Pocket Paragons, BattleCon, Exceed. They're definitely not like super popular games compared to like Magic or some of the other TCGs, but they've been exploring this space, do a really cool job, and we were like, what if we could make this more approachable, faster, easier for an audience? Yeah.
The thing that I like specifically with your game too, being a Smash coach, a formal competitor, it has that same feel as if I'm holding the controller, you know what I mean? Obviously it's not a one-to-one, but it's pretty close for a game like that. So talk about like creating that same feeling. Like how did you know like this is how it's gonna work and this is how it's gonna function?
Yeah, definitely a lot of trial and error. We've been at this since like 2017, and I think it was really about like finding the right feeling, because my brother and I, we grew up playing like couch co-ops, so Smash on the couch, like not competitive in any sort of way, but very much just having a blast, like charging the Samus blaster, waiting for someone to jump down and you just obliterate them. And so we wanted something that was, easy enough to enter, as well as rewarded some replayability, some mastery, some strategy. And I think, honestly, it was just a lot of playtesting over and over and throwing out mechanics, trying new ideas until we found something that fit really well.
Now, I talked to you a little bit about the art, but for anyone listening, talk about the art, right? Because that's what really drew me about the booth. How do you come up with the style of each character?
Art process was amazing. Shouts out Christian Erba. He was our the art lead of art direction. So he did character concept design for all of our characters, and they came out amazing. He did a lot of work on Riot Games. We were really inspired by MOBAs when we first started, because that's what we were playing. And I just think they have a really beautiful art style where they have so many different characters, but each character feels unique and just jumps out of the screen at you. And so we really tried to emulate that with ours.
Yeah, it definitely looks beautiful. You have the playmount all laid out. Now, how do you see this being a vision of hitting retail stores now, right? Do you see like booster boxes, packs? I know you got little character stands for your individuals. And then the mats. Like, what's your vision of this when this hits the stores?
Yeah, we definitely want it to be something where when you buy the box, you can just play the game as it is, right? We're definitely not chasing TCG market space as much as we are trying to make something that is like a good baseline and then grows from there. But yeah, I think one thing you touched on is the arenas is like adding more characters to the roster increases a lot of complexity because you got to think about all of the different matchups. But adding a new arena is a great way to, I think, keep the game feeling fresh while also giving people the same playing field, right? The same set of tools to work with. So we have a bunch of different ones. We've got this giant boulder that chases you around like Indiana Jones. But honestly, we have so many more ideas that I'd love to get to in future expansions.
Yeah, heck yeah. Now, again, with the art, you got quite a few beautifully crafted characters in this game. Explain maybe two totally opposite ones. Like, explain a little bit about the characters and, yeah, give us a little insight of that.
Yeah, I'd love to dive into the lore. I think that's been one of the really fun things to come up with is like, why are these people here? Why are they fighting? And hopefully weave that into the mechanics, tell a bit of a story. So two completely like polar opposite characters. This we have Ticket. He's like a time traveler with a malfunctioning time device, but it works pretty well. And what that lets him do in the game is he gets to cheat time over and over again. So if you form your stack of cards, you think you have the right actions queued up, he can sneak an extra card in there. He can steal an extra turn away from you. Opposite of him, we have this like very theatrical necrodancer summoner kind of guy who like he's theatrical. He has tons of costumes. He might also be able to be magical and summon the undead. But he's much more like a contemporary figure and not like a futuristic time traveler. But overall, we definitely try not to take it too seriously. We love the idea of Smash where you have all these characters from disparate universes together. So yeah, we don't adhere to one time setting.
But I think it's cool in the aspect of a fighting game mentality that multiple people like fighting games for multiple varieties of reasons. And for me in particular, like when I was first drawn to fighting games as a kid, it was the stories. It was the storytelling. It was like, who is this character? Why am I playing as them? Why are they here? So it's cool to hear that, like, that's what you're taking the inspiration on those characters for, which is just so cool. So I want to know who your favorite character is that's been designed so far. You don't have to spoil anything if there's someone in the back pocket that hasn't come out yet, but who's your favorite?
No, yeah, I mean, we've played these characters so many times. It's like, for me, and I think my brother feels the same way, we have very clear favorites. So for me, my absolute favorite is Sabo. He's like, he's garbed like a mysterious kind of ninja, and he rewards you, I think, the most for reading what your opponent's doing. He does some like area control mechanics, and if he sets everything up right, he can do this awesome combo kill. Every time I do it, it's so satisfying. I could play him probably forever.
Yeah, so kind of going back to like when this thing hits the stores, let's say it's your vision, it hits the shelf, what do you want to see after that? Do you want to see like, how can you, I guess, expand the universe? Do you want to expand this universe? What do you like to do? You talked about more of the lore that you like to get into. Yeah. So what is your ideal vision for this game?
Yeah, I think that would be super awesome if we could, and we definitely have such a backlog of ideas that we're already really building the next expansion, the next set of characters. I think the thing with retail is we really want to drive success with our partners. So like we've got a great retail footprint. We think we look great on the shelves. And so I think if it works well, we'd love to get, grow our footprint on retail, get more characters in, and start running like little tournaments. We've had a lot of success so far. A lot of people who play it, they come from a competitive background or they have that competitive edge. They got that dog in them and they just want to go at it. And I'd love to see like an actual little tournament scene pop up. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I definitely felt that competitiveness when we were talking about reading each other's, like basically minds to anticipate each other, our moves. That was something different than in any card game that I played before. So one, appreciated showing me that. That was awesome. So right now, you're on a Kickstarter, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Kickstarter just wrapped up a couple months ago, and so right now what we're doing is we're doing pre-orders. Our stuff's on the way from China, so it's super, as first-time creator, it's like crazy to think like, oh, the thing is made, like the factory in China sending us photos, and it looks beautiful. We got the like samples, and they turned out better than I could have imagined. It's coming over on the boat. We're going to do a ton of cons this year, try to sell through the whole thing, do another print, and come back to Kickstarter with another game. That's awesome. That's the dream.
Awesome. Great. Well, we're not going to keep you holding up too much longer, right? You got your booth, and I'm sure there's people walking around interested in playing it. So give us your hook. Where can we find you? How do we get in contact with maybe purchasing or helping with the Kickstarter, whatever that is?
Yeah, awesome. So check us out on tothgames.com. If you go to ccs.tothgames.com or shop.tothgames.com, any place, Toth Games, that's us. Legends of the Arena is the game. Instagram, TikTok, we're on every platform. And right now, the shop's just opened up, so come on by and take a look.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. And Legends of the Arena, definitely check it out, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
That's it for our interviews from Capital Creative Showcase. They're going to be sharing it on the podcast. Again, we're going to be putting them up on YouTube, some of the panels. There is over 40 gigabytes of data that I'm shifting through right now. And then I just heard from Phil from Disasserting that they have 40 gigabytes on there. And so I'm like, oh my God, this will take at least 2 weeks to really get through all of it. So that's happening right now. But I want to thank so much, first off, Kim from Ghost Hunter Simulator, Sarah from Wizard Cleaning Simulator, Mike from Legends of the Arena, and Keoni from Seize Gilded Treasures, and everybody else that we got to talk to today. On the day, this is from yesterday, but there were 90 video game developers in this one room, and everybody got to play test their games and give good feedback. And one thing I heard from a lot of the new people that were presenting at this convention for the first time, it's such a unique kind of convention, is that this was the first time they really got to engage with the feedback and learn more about the game that they've been working on for so long and how they can improve it. And when I tell people like Disasserting guys to come out and check out this convention, I'm like, it's not going to be what you think, because the easiest way to say is there's chairs behind the table and there's chairs in front of the table, because people sit down and they really test these games. They give earnest feedback, and it's a much more collaborative effort between attendees and the booth. And it's just such a fun environment to be a part of. And I'm so glad I'm now working with them. behind the scenes as well. And I cannot wait for next year. We're already talking about the big plans we have for next year and how we could elevate this thing and make it even better. So I want to thank everybody that came out for this, and I want to thank everybody that we did interviews with. We have a lot to go through, and I cannot wait to share it all. And I want to thank you for listening to Geek Freaks over the years. We were doing the math, and we're like, oh my God, we're closing in on 8 years of Geek Freaks. How crazy is that? So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And you guys listening, that's the reason we're doing it. Thank you so much, and you have yourself a great week.